everyone, welcome to the Voice of Charon Healing Podcast. I am Almighty Servant Charon, here to let you know you are power, you are light, you are loved.
Woo, you guys, last night was a challenge, okay? And I record these ahead, so it wasn't literally last night, but the other night, I'll say, was a challenge, you guys. And I likes to keep it real, okay? I'm here to inspire you guys to heal and help raise the vibration of birth. And I'll talk about healing and letting ish go and all this. But understand, you guys, it is a journey. So I try to make it very clear that I make it sound easy, like just do it. I make it sound easy, like heal and you go get there and you've arrived. But no, through that, there's always something that comes up that you have to heal. I know you've heard me say this before clearly, but I sound so confident and I am so confident in it. But I want to make it very clear, you guys, that when you're healing it, oh my God, some of the things hurt so bad. Last night, I was thinking about true love, and I still know completely and fully and all glory to God that I'm going to receive my true divine kingdom spouse, okay? My true divine kingdom spouse is going to have to heal things within him so intensely, so purely, not perfectly, of course, because we always find something else that we have to heal, right? But I myself as well, as pure intention as I am, as pure hearted as I'm striving to be, as pure genuine as I'm striving to be, there's still things inside of me that I have to heal. So when you're listening to these people, if you're listening to someone and they're telling you, heal and I've healed and everything's grand and life just flows from there, it is a complete lie. They're fronting and they aren't seeing things in themselves. Now, it is very well okay to not see things within yourself, because sometimes you don't know, you're trying so hard. You're working to be strong. You're working to be confident. You're working to be healed. You're working to purify yourself. So sometimes you think that you've healed completely and then something will pop up. Okay. Now, I was speaking to someone about healing before, and he asked me, like, how do you, what did he ask me? My goodness. How do you forgive? I was talking about forgiveness. Forgiveness is a huge way of how you heal, forgiving. Okay. I wrote a whole book. You guys hear it at the end. It all comes up to love, how to truly forgive via God's source, our creator. And you guys, even though I wrote that whole book on how to heal, how to truly forgive, via God's source, our creator, it's still hard to forgive completely in your heart. You have these memories of the things that these people did. And some of the things that people do are so harsh and have put such a burden on your life. Okay. So the guy didn't ask me how to heal. He asked me, how do you truly forgive? How do you forgive for real? People can say I forgive, but inside you might still have a pain. You might still have a twinge when that person is brought up, when that situation is brought up, whenever happened of the situation that you need to forgive that was offensive to you, that hurt you, that drug you down, that put a freaking time stamp of trauma in your life. Whenever that comes up, we have a twinge sometimes about it. It takes a lot to heal. You always have to go back and reflect on it, okay? And then when you think you've healed it correctly or completely, something will happen or something new will come up, and you have to go through the whole flow of truly forgiving again, okay? So sometimes you'll forgive just a piece of it, all right? And that's a good thing. You feel great. You ascend higher. You have forgiven, a portion. But then that same situation can be brought to you again. And then you have to forgive an even deeper level of the trauma, okay? You have to tap in even deeper with the same situation that you thought you forgave and they gave you the freedom to skip around earth happier, you were tapped back into that same situation and you have to dig deeper and forgive more. Okay. So for me last night, it was my dad. Okay. And I don't say my father. My father is a portion of God. Okay. A side of God is my father, has been my father throughout my life. God has represented the father figure in my life. Okay. Now, of course, God isn't physically here, but just the protection, the one I could always go to, the one who loves me, who loved me always growing up. God represented that portion of a father. Okay. Now I said before that God is everything, the air and this and that and that. God's mother. God has been many things to me. But when I was coming up, God was my father. Okay. I didn't have it. I mean, I had a dad, but even having a dad, it was more like a sperm donor. He wasn't around, for many reasons. That's deep. I'm writing a book on that. So you're not going to get it all here, but just know, no one in the home, this, that, narcissist, blah, 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 blah. Like so much stuff, you guys. Okay. But when he left this earth, you guys, I was told I had to forgive him for something. I'm not going to go into it too deep because that'll make this podcast episode 10 hours long, and shorter is better for me because I edit it myself. Okay. I had to forgive my dad, and I forgave him kind of, to a degree, but I was like, yeah, but if you still, but yeah, I forgive you. Thank you for my life. And then I was watching thing about Terry Crews the other day, and he was talking about being groped by that agent in Hollywood or whatever, and I saw the people clowning him and trying to tear him down or whatever, but he spoke about his dad and how his dad used to beat his mom and how he's so big, he built his muscles so big because he knew one day he'd have to beat his mom. He might have said take him off earth, I can't remember. He might have to stop his dad from beating his mom, right? And at one point, he went back home during his life and with his kids, I believe. And when he was there, his dad hit his mom in front of his kids and stuff. And then he said, that's it. This is the point. And he said he busted him in the face twice or whatever. And I think his brother came out. Don't quote me on all this, but the point is Terry beat his dad. Okay. And then later he had a conversation with his dad and forgave him because beating his dad's didn't make him feel better. Terry Crews, hi, I love you. Thank you for sharing that story with the world. You probably won't hear this episode, but I'm just putting it up in the air. Thank you for sharing your story with the world in that way. It literally tapped into my mind. And last night I had a whole thing going on, and then I thought of you. So when I had to tap deeper into forgiving my dad, and I had to cry my whole little heart out, I cried my whole little heart out again for not having a dad, a dad figure, someone positive, someone who loved me, someone to protect me, someone to make me feel safe, someone to make me know what it is to have a husband, what is a positive husband and wife, experience, example on earth. My dad didn't give me that. My dad had flaws or trauma that didn't kind of allow him to do that. He wasn't able to heal, but nonetheless in my life, I didn't know that. I just knew, I went through all these traumas of not having a dad, the daddy issues of this, trying to be strong, not trusting men, all this. I went through all of that because of the lackings of my dad. So when it hit me really hard, I thought of you and what you said about how you had your conversation with dad and you told him, thank you for giving you life and your life wouldn't thing and you wouldn't change a thing. Like that was in my subconscious after hearing it. Now back to everyone here that I'm speaking to on this podcast. You guys, I had already went through the phase of saying, okay, Dad, you did this or whatever, I forgive you. And I had to say this through prayer because my dad left this earth. Okay. He was taken from this earth. God took him, and God told me he was going to take him because of something else. But like I said, I'm writing a book. You'll hear about that later. But in prayer, I thanked my dad, for giving me life. And I said, all these things are horrible, whatever, but thank you for giving me life. I've said that before, but it was a shallow version. It was a surface version. It was saying it while still having the pain. Like, man, how could you do that? Like, that's an undertone that's underneath. Does that make sense? Okay. So I had already said that once, but it was a level of it. And then, like I said, you're always brought back to the situation that hurt you or traumatized to you. And then you have to go deeper, okay? So as I am seeking true love with a divine kingdom spouse, I have to purge a lot. You guys, I have to purge a lot. I have to purge a lot so that this union of true love that I come into can be so freaking strong, okay? And part of that union, you guys, is for some people to not love too much, to not be too present and caring, to not let people get away with certain things. I hope that makes sense to you. But sometimes some people's trauma, some people's weakness makes them love too much, or be present too much, or be too caring, or over nurturing too much, when someone literally needs to get their ish together, okay? Now, getting your ish together isn't an easy thing, because most of the ish that people have is based on traumas and things that they can't see, or that they are not strong enough to heal. We all have it, okay? We all have it. I'm speaking about mine literally right now. So I was thinking of my dad, and I was thinking of true love and how I didn't have it, or how I wanted it to come, and when was it going to come, and what if the person isn't strong enough to heal to come to me? You know what I mean? I went through that, and I just got sad, and I was crying, and like, because sometimes, we aren't perfect. So if we don't have a certain thing, like I said, sometimes it's us. So I'm crying, and I'm like, why? What do I have to do? How do I, just like, God, I don't know. I'm trying to be the best I can be. I'm just giving healing to the world. I've turned my back on certain things, of this, of that, why? Where is my true love? I cried, I bawled. And then I had thoughts of my dad. So I had to tap into my dad again. And I was tapping into my dad and giving thanks. And then I wound up thanking him for giving me life again. And I spoke to him in prayer about knowing he wasn't able to heal and how it affected me and all this stuff. But I thank him for my life. And if it wasn't for those things, I wouldn't be such a beautiful heart right now. I wouldn't be able to share with you guys so completely. I wouldn't be able to help people to heal. I wouldn't be able to help people with their traumas. I wouldn't be able to be an example of how you can still move on and love yourself and this and that and that. I wouldn't be able to be the example if I didn't go through the experiences that I went through with my dad, and tears streamed so hard. And I had to pray to God to cover me with angels. Because see, when we're in our lower vibrational place, when we're crying, when we're sad, when we're open in that way, then that's when some types of evil stuff comes through, the evil spirits, the evil intentions that people put in the air, the black magic work, the mirroring, whatever it is that they do. That's when they have a sort of opportunity to come in and tap into your spirit, your mindset, and this while you are so-called weak. So I prayed to God to surround me with the angels and all this stuff, and to allow me to cry and purge these pains inside of my heart, whatever it was, to just allow me to cry and release and heal as I slept. Okay, you guys. And it was so sad, but it was so beautiful, because I know God protects me and surrounds me and loves me. And I knew that this was a moment to heal. And I was grateful to be strong enough to be weak enough to allow it to happen. Okay. So sometimes you have to be strong enough to be weak enough. Sometimes you have to be powerful enough to be weak enough, to let that shit out of you for real, you guys. To purge that shit out of you for real, you guys. To just be weak and open on the floor, in the bed, and just cry that shit out, but release it for real, okay? So I didn't cry it out and then come to a revelation or a completion of it last night. I fell asleep while I was crying, okay? And when I woke up, I felt at peace. I felt loved. I felt protected. I felt strong and powerful enough to speak again and say, you guys, just forgive and let that ish go, okay? And you guys, am I completely healed in that? Probably not until I receive a love so true. But then even when I receive a love so true and so powerful, like if something happens to that love, do I fall off again? I'll have to balance again. So it's all about loving yourself, you guys. And it's all about being in a connection with God to help you through the journey, okay? No one is perfect. No one is free of sin. No one is completely healed. So if you're seeing people walking around acting like, yeah, I went through this and now I'm here and everything's perfect. No, it's always something more. It's always some way that you can become greater and that you should become greater. So be proud of yourself wherever you are, and don't be overwhelmed by a goal that you are trying to achieve, you guys. Just one step at a time. Do the best that you can, okay? The world's going to throw so much at you, and the things that the world throws at you are actually to help you overcome that ish. And when you overcome that ish, you become stronger and you become greater, okay? So don't feel like you're failing, even if ish ain't right in your life, okay? Just improve yourself one step at a time. And I know it's hard, you guys. Let that shit out. Don't be afraid to cry. And I want you to know that you're doing amazing, okay? Some things are so hard, but you're doing amazing. And I am so very proud of you. And God is so very proud of you when you tap into the point of trying and seeking to rise above. There's nothing that you have done. There's nothing that you can do that God won't forgive you for. Even if you have to pay your karma, God can hold you and help get you out of that. Even if you have to pay dues along the way of God being with you, because you know you affect people when you do certain things. So even if you have to pay your karma, God can help you get out of that. You are never stuck, okay? I know that made sense. I'm not even going to say I hope that made sense. I know that made sense, and I know that that went through some people's hearts. So know, you guys, I love you more than you could ever comprehend, okay? You are power. You are light. You are loved. Almighty Servant Charon.
I am the voice of Charon, an almighty servant of God, okay? I love you, love yourself, love everyone. You are power, you are light, you are loved. Make sure you subscribe to the Voice of Charon Healing Podcast, where I speak about any and everything as soon as it comes to my heart. You are power, you are light, you are loved.
This episode is sponsored by Fearless Glory Publishing. Take the first step towards a life of true forgiveness and love with our best-selling book, It All Comes Up to Love, How to Truly Forgive via God's Source, Our Creator. Order your copy today at ebook.almightyservant.com.